Getting the best price for insurance is up to 44% cheaper if you go through an agent or a broker versus going directly to a company. Holy crap! All of you are mad at me, I'm so sorry. A lot of agents watch this video and I apologize. This is an article I'm reading that was by Explica.co. It's mainly done in Spain, although I am seeing the trend in the US pretty heavily. Back a few years ago, Progressive actually did a training where they talked about how their model, because they're the best ones to look at in my opinion, as far as to see how this grows and this growth has changed. But if you look at their model, they used to be primarily agents. That was the foundation. Look at companies like Farmers Insurance and State Farm Insurance. They have these pillars, as they call them, which is their agent. That's their brick and mortar buildings. And they pour a lot of resources into them because that's how the company grew. And I really, really appreciate those pieces that they've stuck around, because if I was an agent, I would want that commitment from the company because I built your company on my back. And if you're going to just let me do that and then take it and run somewhere else, that's a sad story for me. So what they've done is your companies like Allstate and Farmers and State Farm and all of these guys have sub companies. Even Liberty Mutual has Safeco. Allstate has Esurance. Progressive has Progressive Direct and Progressive. They're almost three pieces. And there's a lot of different ways that they've allowed customers to purchase without hurting the agent, so to speak. Well, what's happening on this side is Progressive a few years back did a study on their book, and they noticed that customers were leaning away from Progressive, the agency, where you would have one specific agent, an exclusive agent that would only sell Progressive. And they noticed that a lot of those customers were leaning towards these agents or agencies or brokers because they were so much better and they offered a bunch of different options, different companies, like the one that I work with. Company I currently work at works with 17 different companies. We're in 21 different states. So we've got a huge gambit of options for customers in multiple areas. And the thing is, I'll link a video here because it gets a little more in depth with that. But the part of that is we see some of those trends start to happen. What's happening is those agencies are leaving the State Farms and the Allstate and the Farmers and a lot of those independent agents because in reality, we're advertising and most of the agencies are advertising against don't work with one specific company. That's not to say that State Farm isn't great and Farmers isn't great and all those aren't good in certain areas, because they are. Sometimes those are better deals than what we have to offer. Just not very often. It's so rare that it happens anymore. If you're in Florida, I think State Farm and Allstate are gonna really rule that zone along with Geico. So today, that's what's happening, but it's slowly piecing out over to these agencies and these agents that can shop all of these different options. My whole channel is based on talking about profiles and how somebody with one ticket, maybe an accident, one kid, one car, two houses, has an umbrella, like that type of profile is different than just a guy that wants renter's insurance. So depending on where you're at on the spectrum, you're going to fit with different companies in different points of your life. Well, why wouldn't you want to work with one person that understands the industry, that is an expert, that works with all of those companies, that we can just move you around, and depending where you're at in your life, we can put you in those places that you're going to get the best rates based on where you're at today. Not to bash the other guys, like I said, they're great, but there's only one slot for you to go into. And when you don't fit that slot, you go up at a higher cost. So you're paying the bill for the guy below you more than if you would here. You're paying it either way. That's just unfortunately the way that insurance works. It's just if you don't fit, you're paying more than you should. Now, to go back to this article, they did mention that they had used the data from a company called Firm Prisma Consulting, and they had used 799,559 policies to base this information on. And so they are seeing a huge shift in cost between being exclusive to to being independent. The other part of this article is that they said 380 from 2019 went down to 369 on average in 2020. So they're talking about like a liability cost in Europe or whatever area that they're talking about here. I fair to say, because the US is about $1,600 a year on average for insurance, we're seeing people knock off anywhere from the ones that are paying above that they're knocking off anywhere from $600 to $1,200 a year just by finding that correct fit. I've personally seen it across the board. I think our average is like $700 or $690 some odd dollars a year for those that switch to our insurance. Fortunately, I'm in Michigan, so the rates are ridiculously high. I can almost always save somebody money. And when you're in the other 21 states, it's still possible, not as competitive, but when you get into major cities like in Georgia or in Arizona or in Texas, and there's not a lot of options for you, that's where these independent agents are just gonna control the industry. They have 6, 7, with us 17 different companies, and there's really only about 5 or 6 of them that most companies are going to use consistently, because they usually do really well in one specific area, and that area is going to work really well with certain companies. So let me know in the comments below, are you guys currently paying more than the $1,600 to $1,700 per year for insurance for full coverage? Do you think that you are a better fit for a different company? Have you checked other options? What have you found? Obviously, the agent makes a huge difference. If you guys don't have a specific agent that you're working with, I'll put a link below that you guys can check out. You can either do an app where you can download and check 30 companies at once without a person. Don't ever talk to them unless you want to. Or you can look at the company similar to I work with, where you're gonna talk to a live agent and they're gonna shop you up to 17 different companies. Those are available to you in the description below. Personally, I've done multiple quotes on this channel and I haven't switched. I still love the company that I'm with, even though I have found about 30 to 50% cheaper deals out there. So it's not just getting the cheapest thing that you can find, it's also finding the company that you think you're a fit for as well. Do they hold the same values? Do they have the right rates for you? Are they giving you the coverage that you want that's gonna protect you correctly? There's a lot of really good things that an agent's gonna work with you on either route you go, whether it's an independent agent or an exclusive agent. You're gonna have both those options. It's just, how much is that value worth? Is that person that charges 20 to 30% more going to give you enough value for the amount of money that you're gonna spend with them? Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. I would love to hear your opinions, whether you think that you've seen that in this industry in the US or outside of the US, if it is something where you're seeing 20, 30, up to 50% cheaper through an agent that can work with multiple companies, or you're just dead set on the guy that you're with or girl that you're with. There's no one better. If you have somebody like that, I also don't mind in this case if you want to put their name and the location, city, and state that you're in, and maybe we'll give them a shout out on the video, because if they are doing great for somebody, I would love more people to have those options as well. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.